Thank you for visiting my CryptoQ Media channel again. When the price of XRP goes down, this happens every single time. For some reason, if XRP's price goes down, a lot of people get all worked up and start making irrational complaints, as if XRP itself were flawed. In the crypto world, this causes all kinds of ridiculous stories to circulate. Crypto media is actually a part of this. Here are 3 articles that have been mentioned in crypto media. I'll explain why they don't make sense when it comes to XRP's activities and why they shouldn't have any impact at all. It defies logic, to state the obvious. This is why price reactions to events, even those with only a weak relationship to the ecology at hand, should not be unexpected. In this case, that is the reason XRP is designated in that way. This is because it would serve no other purpose, would it? I will explain why it is acting this way. My guys, it's macro, XRP is great in every way imaginable. Well, it's absolutely absurd. In addition, I'll be the first to say that this video will help those with anxiety feel much better by the end. Because I do not perceive any reason to be fearful at the moment, that remains my objective. I should start by mentioning that my family has never been financially well off. Due to my lack of training as a financial advisor, you should not place your faith in my advice or buy anything just because I say it. Just an enthusiast here that enjoys making short films about cryptocurrency for fun on YouTube. I am filming this video at the moment. The current time is 2:22 a.m. Central Standard Time. Since my time zone is Eastern Standard Time and I am located in the Great Midwest of the United States, XRP is currently falling on this Friday, September 6, 2024. With a decline to 53.7 cents, Bitcoin is now worth 55,906. Instead of explaining it in detail, I feel compelled to stress this point, but not for too long. Rather than repeating myself, I'd like to provide some visuals to illustrate a point I've made in previous videos, then, I'll utilize that to suggest that this isn't unique to XRP or even cryptocurrency in general. That this is merely historical data is something I have mentioned before, and I have done so at least twice in the past few days. I hold a different opinion. Regarding this, there is no debate. What I want to tell you is this: when looking at how Bitcoin has performed in September, it has a very poor record. It's true, and I'll explain why shortly. This chart shows the monthly change in the price of Bitcoin from the beginning of 2011, all the way up to the present day. We now have 13 complete data points for Bitcoin spanning from 2011 to 2023. Again, looking at the data from 2011 to 2023, the most recent full month, you'll see that 10 out of 13 points show a declining Bitcoin price. To be honest, that is very standard. Still, the month could end on a positive note. It seems highly improbable based on the data, unless, of course, you know nothing about cryptocurrencies, in which case, hello. Yes, there is more to the story. Pleasure to meet with you today. Cryptocurrency markets and stock markets actually move in tandem, contrary to popular belief. That is absolutely correct. That is also what drives the liquidity in these markets. Now, take a look at this. You can't separate the stock market from the cryptocurrency market, they move in tandem, of course, but holy cow, September is the worst stock market month ever. Here's a headline from CNBC to illustrate the point. Before, I brought up the fact that XRP and crypto are the subject of many negative narratives. Now, we can see how they connect. This is why you shouldn't be afraid. I'm not suggesting that you put money into the market in any way. Follow your best judgment. Fearing this places, in my view, very unreasonable. If you're acting emotionally like this in September, you should brace yourself for a rough ride. The data must be reviewed. It would have been wise for you to review the figures sometime in the middle of last month. Next month in September, I expect to feel low because of my mental state. After all, the figures tell me that's the whole story. In all this, where is your humor? So, I won't be reading this study. However, I will note that they mentioned September's fall during the last 4 years on page 5100. The month of September passed, I see. S&P 500 average declines for 2020 were 4%, 2021 was 5%, 2022 was 9%, and 2020 was 5%. These numbers are just mind-boggling. Using data that extends all the way back to 1948, this Inc. piece demonstrates that the SP 500 has a long history of declining in September. Just below this, you'll notice the source of the data. It appears to have come from BMO Capital Markets, but you can see it. From 1948 onwards, this data set for the SP 500 shows that September had an average decline of 7%. The screen clearly shows that it is a significant anomaly. Wow, that's way too much. Since 1948, the only month that has been consistently lower than the rest of the year is February, and even then, it's just modestly lower. After falling 7% in September, it has only fallen 1% so far this month. If you look closely, you'll see that the three blue towers on the right side of the screen represent October, November, and December. These 3 months often contain the 3 tallest skyscrapers in a quarter. When people talk about how incredible the fourth quarter has been historically, they're not exaggerating. All we have here is data. I hold a different opinion. You are not qualified to provide an opinion on this data, it is simply data. Feeling worried now, stocks and cryptocurrencies are plummeting, and people can't get any rest because this is happening at a time when history shows the exact reverse. Curled up on a small ball on the floor, they are sucking their thumbs, as if in the fetal position. How will this be achieved then? Why is it okay if I ask this way? To be honest, I'm confused. Good news. It's not unreasonable to think that the fourth quarter will be quite successful, and that's for reasons unrelated to this topic. Before I quickly dismantle the XRP flood, I wanted to make sure we're all on the same path by explaining why spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt is pointless. In October, the SP 500 rose by an average of 1%, in November, there is an increase. November was the greatest month for the SP 500 on average, rising 1.6%, and December was even better, up 1.5%. Similarly, the results for the fourth quarter have been exceptional. That is completely insane. I think it's great in it. On a scale from 1 to 10, you give it a strong 2 thumbs up. Each morning, you gaze upon it with a smile on your face. I thought you may. Bitcoin really mirrors that spot on if you look at October. When we go back to the crypto rank page, we can see the data from 2011 all the way up to 2023. Surely you've noticed that every one of those years has a complete month, so I just told you that, for 10 of the last 13 months, Bitcoin values have declined. Is that accurate? 10 years out of 13, or more precisely, for the month of September, it is now fine. Next month, what would you be available in October? Look at this, 9 times out of 13 years, it has been up in October. Also, 8 of the 13 items for November have been successfully sent. I believe you understand. And you could ask, so, what's the deal? I don't understand why September is always a bad month. This riddle has baffled many different kinds of people for a long time, and some of those people are very bright. It would go beyond the scope of this film to go into detail, but suffice it to say that many believe the stock market is dull and stagnant in the summer. This is because many arguments center on the idea that people should not be required to make changes when they go on vacation. Those are not the arguments I am making in this video. Take into account the following points. If you're curious, you can search for it on Google. You are the reason why my video was noticed. Show your support for my channel by giving it a subscribe and like. As for now, farewell.